Today we're going to the remote town of Kamloops.
From here, everything will change.
Traveling up sweltering mountain passes.
Drier climate, lots of sand.
This place is almost turning into a real desert. Along Highway 1 and back through the exquisite Coquihalla Pass along Highway 5 in British Columbia.
So join us as we drive for more than 6 hours and arrive too late for our campground.
Gates are closed. Steven's going there. See if they will be graceful towards us.
We are Steve and Az, and welcome to Old Living. We are going to Kamloops today. It will be our very first time there. We are going with a friend who invited us. So, to get there, we already passed the City of Hope and we are driving on Highway 1. And on our way to Kamloops, we are gonna go through Cache Creek, which is a place that became very famous during the gold rush times.
We're going to be going up Highway 1 to Kamloops and back along Highway 5. So it's going to be a big loop. And we're taking you on the adventure along with us.
We are going up and back all in one day, so it's gonna be a very fun one-day trip, and we hope to enjoy it. We stopped at a rest area here in Yale.
And Yale used to be a little fur trade town, and gold was discovered here. So it became a massive, massive gold mining area.
And one thing that we realized, actually, when we were learning about the history of Canada, the Hudson's Bay Company's name kept on coming up all the time. This company has its fingers on every single town in Canada, yeah. It seems like. We're pretty powerful.
If you look into the history of the Hudson's Bay Company, it was pretty powerful and pretty controlling, and one might say pretty evil back in the day.
They also had a fort here in Yale, so they were all over the country.
The Hudson's Bay Company at Fort Yale knew about the rich deposits of gold in the Fraser Valley as early as 1856, but they kept it a secret. On March 23rd, 1858, Edward Hill stopped for lunch near Fort Yale. Dipping his gold pan in the river, he discovered high concentrations of gold. As word leaked out of this discovery, 30,000 gold miners poured into the Yale area, quickly overwhelming the native population in the heart of their own territory. A frontier Wild West city sprang up overnight, boasting at least 14 saloons during this gold fever frenzy. By the early 1860s, an estimated 1 ton of gold was extracted from only a few kilometers of the Fraser River in the Caribou region.
And now back on the road. Tunnel time!
Tunnel time, and it's called Yale Tunnel. So here we've stopped off at a beautiful view of the Fraser River. You can see it's pretty muddy, the Fraser River, but in the background there's mountains and there's a beautiful blue sky with sunshine.
This is the color the river has pretty much the whole year round. It's called the Muddy Fraser River for that reason.
So we are winding through these mountainous roads, going up and down and going through quite a few tunnels as we go. There's beautiful evergreen pine trees on the mountains, and there's like this granite rock. It almost looks like a black granite rock that's on the side of the mountains. It's quite interesting.
Tunnel number 5. Oh, there seems to be a 6th one.
And I believe this tunnel had the date 1964 up above.
We stopped at a rest area again. And from here, everything will change. We are gonna be driving past a really snaky river. And from there, things will change even more. Because we will drive through a desert. Everything will be sand and sage. and we're really excited.
It's not every day that we have such a beautiful view just out of the kitchen window.
The tunnel.
Channel number 7.
It's starting to change. We can already see some dark sand, and the trees seem to be getting a little shorter as well.
Yeah, so we are going to be winding down along a snaky road by the river apparently, and you'll notice that the desert will be starting to begin. It's going to be starting to get drier, see more sand and shorter trees as we go, so it should be an interesting drive. Like on my left here, there's like pretty much a whole mountain that is being burnt. There seems to be been a wildfire. Oh, even over here, look.
Summertime, it's not uncommon to see wildfires here in Canada. It's quite weird to drive through this. Look
I
at
wouldn't
this.
be surprised if this was last year that this was one of the wildfires.
Really?
Yeah, in the last few years.
Wow, it seems like this goes on and on and on and on for a long time.
Some of the roads were pretty bad back there, so it's I guess they trying to improve the roads. They have these huge chain link fences hanging as nets over the side of the mountain to stop the rocks from falling on the road. As we're driving, it's definitely become a lot more deserty, definitely become a lot more drier, less trees,
Less green.
less green.
There is definitely a change of scenery, drier climate, lots of sand, and we had a very muddy river here on the side, which I believe it was the Fraser River.
This place is almost turning into a real desert. You could almost feel as though you're in maybe Utah, starting to be in like Utah or somewhere in this area. Who would have expected a desert in Canada?
Know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling like I am in the Cars movie. And I love that movie. Okay, I know it's for kids, but I love it. Okay, the first time I watched it, I was basically a kid.
Desert on one side, and then all of a sudden here on the other side, it starts to get really green.
So we stopped on the side of the road, and what can you hear, Naz?
Lots of bugs. I don't know if they are cicadas, what they are, crickets. I don't know. But it sounds like something.
So this place is amazing, guys. Wow, aren't you glad you joined us on this adventure? And you can see the wildflowers. Look at these beautiful wildflowers. Incredible. This place does not feel like you're in Canada. This place feels kind of somewhere, maybe in Utah, maybe East Washington, maybe down towards Arizona, who knows, somewhere warm and sunny. The wildflowers here are incredible. Even though it's deserty, there's such a rich tapestry of wildflowers in these fields. Okay, let's get going, girl.
Our friend, who doesn't want to be on camera, confirmed to us that this fire happened 2 years ago. She had to move away because she lived around this area. Other people had to move away, so it was a pretty bad fire. And we can tell just by looking at how many burnt trees. It's crazy.
Apparently the town of Lytton, back in that direction, was wiped out by the fire. And we saw a sign for 2 kilometers from the road. So just close by here, apparently it was wiped out. The railway seems to travel kind of similar places to the road. I think it goes in between the mountains. So you find the river, the road kind of on the side of the mountain and the railway as well. Look at those amazing rock formations on the side of the mountain there.
I'm a real desert lover and I'm loving every second of this. This is beautiful. It's funny because we knew there were deserts in Canada, but we talked about visiting them one day, but we didn't think it would be this beautiful. And we haven't even got to the best part yet. Feels like we are in the middle of nowhere, and yet we have a traffic light right here. And we are waiting for it to open for quite a while now. Oh, there it goes. Now we can even see some red rocks. This really reminds me of Colorado.
So we're just passing through this little town called Spencer's Bridge, and we saw the cutest little old church. It looks like it's almost falling down. What do you think, Naz?
Well, I think it could do well in a movie. Mountains here definitely have a brownish gray shade to them, and right here on the right hand as well as on the left hand side of the road we have lots and lots of sage. You can see the vegetation gets a little greener closer to the river.
So the road is snaking along by the river, in between the mountains, and also the railway. If you look down there, there's a railway that's also snaking around. So all three seem to be kind of snaking around the mountain pass together. Well, we have taken a stop on the side of the road, and look at this view, guys. Blue sky. Down there you can see the river with the railroad running along the edge of the river.
So our friend who doesn't want to be on camera was telling us that when she used to live around this area, she used to go along that road down there. This was pretty much her backyard. During winter time, they don't get much rain. She's checking on me, making sure that I'm reproducing everything she told me precisely. They don't get much rain. They don't get much snow. The lowest temperature she experienced was like -20 or -21, but it wasn't that bad because it's so dry here.
And the sage seems to grow really well in the desert. And here we go. This sign is from 1967. Apparently, Canada's third transcontinental rail link was completed near Basque on January 23rd, 1915. And then if you look back there, you can see the transition of where we came from. More trees, more vegetation up on the mountain compared to the desert up ahead. Let's go exploring, should we? Just keep an eye on it. And we got a bit of everything. Welcome to the farm.
May buy some cattle and raise them. What do you think?
We stopped off for the doggy to have a little bit of a walk, a run, and here we are.
Now we can also have a little bit of a walk and a run.
We are driving through Ashcroft. It's like everything became greener here, almost like an oasis in the desert.
Yeah, it seems to be the valley where they grow the produce in the valley, and they have cattle and more of a farming community, it seems.
We are driving through Cache Creek.
I think this is a little oasis in the middle of the desert here. And I think that this is part of the gold rush area. This area we've been traveling up is the gold rush route. And Cache Creek is one of those historic little towns.
Someone dropped a few trash bags on the road, and this ended up here. Isn't that nice?
So over here on our left, you can see Lake Copper Lake, is it? Lake
Copper Creek.
Oh, Copper Creek.
Close enough.
Copper Creek. Well, that's a big creek because that is a beautiful, big, what looks like to be a lake with mountains on either side. And it's beautiful.
If we're wrong, that's Google Maps' fault because that's what it tells us. Also, as we drive, the vegetation seems to start to change a bit, although it's quite deserty, but we start to see more green portions, more grass, and the mountains are also changing slightly. They're not rocky mountains, but more like mountains covered with green.
I'll be there to show you all the things you're missing. Everything we go through, I'll be by your side. So let's run away to faraway places, escape from this life we have known. Your eyes are new worlds to discover. Your heart is the place I call home. Whoa.
For a little while already, we were talking to each other saying that it really feels like South Africa or Namibia. But this wasn't Namibia because there were no salt pans. Well, we just drove past a few salt pans, believe it or not. There are actually here in BC some saltwater ponds, and the salt just happens to collect there, and it's so unique. They have a very bright white color. I did not expect to see this here. Did you, Steven? Back to civilization. There is a huge built-up town here. As we enter Kamloops, the population starts to get very dense very quickly. We already came across a Costco, Staples, what else? Canadian Tire. So we are almost there where we should be, and we're gonna get something to eat.
Let's not waste time, we'll take this slow. We've got miles behind us with miles to go. So let's just break this down to the simplest truth. You and I as one will always be better than two. Leaves ain't waiting, their colors changing like
Been to Kamloops, we saw a little bit of it. Actually, we only saw a little portion of the town. It's a small town of 300,000 people. It's quite quaint.
Yeah, there's a little Canadian Tire, a lot of little stores there. And it's beautiful. You can see the mountains in the background. So yeah, our friend had to run some errands.
Yes.
So yeah, we joined her there and it was good to see Kamloops.
We had something to eat, and now we are driving out of Kamloops towards the Coquihalla, and you see that the vegetation already started to change.
But
This is beautiful. I missed the desert already.
I think we're going to go back to desert before we go to green again.
We tried to film it. That was the Coquihalla sign. So welcome to the Coquihalla.
We are traveling on the Coquihalla Highway, so it should be quite scenic. Back down towards Chilliwack area.
Seems like we're over the desert already. Now all we have is beautiful greenery, like very wide and vast. Really beautiful.
Yeah, and the trees are starting, as you can see.
And the years go quite funny because of the elevation. So the Coquihalla Pass cuts through the coast mountains, linking Hope and Kamloops in a very exciting 160 kilometers ride. It was opened in 1986, and of course it's crazy for its crazy curves that you guys saw here. Steep slopes, wild weather, especially in winter. And if you're really lucky, you're gonna see some wildlife along the road, like some bears, deer, mountain goats, and you name it. So let's see if we're gonna see any wildlife today. It would be cool if we did. Lost count how many bugs have been splattered, smashed, killed, destroyed on our windshield. We try to keep it clean, but it's almost impossible. So many of them.
There's a lot of Canadian bugs up here.
I don't know how many species of bugs Canada has, but we have one of each on our windshield.
Guys, we have arrived in the little town of Merritt, British Columbia. There's a little Canadian Tire. And if you look up on the hill, there's houses up there on the hill somewhere. Electric charging station. There's a tiny little Dollarama in the middle of nowhere. I think it may be closed. So Naz, what you have to say? Welcome to Merritt, British Columbia.
Welcome. Apparently a desert town. Joking. We arrived here past 6. Is it past 6? Yes, it is. I don't even know what time it is.
It's golden hour. Beautiful sunshine behind.
And look at how many bugs we got in the van.
Lots of bugs. Lots of bugs. This place is bug crazy.
There are so many splashes that I was struggling to figure if it was bird poo or really bugs. It's pretty vast over here. A little Dollarama store down there. A fuel station.
So the environment has turned decidedly more foresty. You have these beautiful kind of rolling mountains.
As we were driving, I saw on the side of the road something that seemed to be a deer. But then I realized it was a dog. And I believe it was a dog that belonged to one of these farms because you see fences. But the thing is that there are no farms here. So our friend that was driving in front of us just pulled to the side of the road because she understood what was going on and we didn't. So it seems like someone dumped that dog on the side of the road, and it was a big dog, big, beautiful dog. So she stopped to see if she could help, if she could catch the dog, and not only her but someone else stopped just after us too. But I don't know if the other people were able to get the dog. Someone else stopped after that. It's very sad to think that some people can be so heartless to a point that instead of just giving the dog to adoption, they would just dump it on the side of a road. A dangerous road like this. Is this tunnel number 7?
Could be.
Tunnel number 7. I know that the camera once showed this, but the proportion of us versus the mountain is incredible. Like, there is a huge gap in size there.
Yeah.
You won't be able to see it, but they are huge.
To see your face, I would shake like a fish in a stream, a chronic search for all I used to believe in. I never wondered why I can't see past the ceiling.
Now it's 8:58 p.m. We gotta check in at our campground before 10 p.m. otherwise they lock us out. So we are making good time. We're only 49 minutes away from the city of Chilliwack.
We did a quick stop to Canadian Superstore to buy a few things for tomorrow's breakfast, and now we're rushing back to our campground that closes at 10 and it's already 9:48. Will we make it in time? Let's see. 7 minutes to our campground and it's 9:55. I don't know if we're gonna make it. It's 10:01 and just approaching the campground. Like, we're not just approaching, we still have a little bit more to drive. Gates are closed. Steven's going there. See if they will be graceful towards us. So it's 10:05. We arrived here at 10:04, 10:03. And the gates were locked. I don't think the person there is quite happy with us arriving at this time. I get it. We arrived after the time. But let's see what happens. We were able to get in last night. The lady wasn't really happy, obviously, because we arrived a little bit too late. Other people complained that they are very strict with time here. But she was very unhappy as well because the other person who checked us in had given us a day pass instead of a weekly pass. So that was a bit of a problem. She had already closed her system. And that explains why she was in such a bad mood. Her hand was all over the place, and I understand she was tired. She had a long day. It wasn't nice for any of us. There is a beautiful walk here behind me. It's so beautiful and green right now. And if you walk across the road, you're gonna see a river. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Sometimes people go up and down on the river on their jet skis. I don't even know if it's allowed. You see lots of people walking their dogs. There is a little forest. Really good to walk there. We walk there all the time. You see people on their horses, people on their bikes. It's really cool. Right now in summertime, everything's so green, so lush. And we have some salmon berries coming up. Very nice. Today's moving day. We're going to the next campground because that's what we do. We see places. With that said, I see you guys in the next one. Keep well, God bless, and bye-bye.